Hi there. So now we have come up with our new website, and you might get a message like this where it asks you to allow it to preview your site, and you can either allow it permanently forever, and that's allow all relevant sites or allow for this chat. I like to give ChatGPT the minimum number of permissions, so I'm going to allow it for this chat. You can see here I've got it working agentically with one working agent, and it has built a web page for me that's going to be available for preview. Meanwhile, the website where I did not give any aesthetic directions is ready for me to look at. It named it Room to Breathe, and you can see it here in the Agentic AI. It ran two subagents, and it's giving me the output of a website called Room to Breathe. And I can click on either the cloud browser, or I can click on the preview button here or here to take a look at it. So I'm going to hit that preview button, and here within ChatGPT, I've got my preview. It looks beautiful. I love it. Now, you may have noticed that absolutely none of these websites has a picture of me. And that's simply because I didn't give it a picture of me. And I think that's an important thing to remember is that if you need specific images included in your ChatGPT or any AI tool website, you need to provide that. People often think that AI is magic or that it knows more about you than it actually does. So they're often surprised that you actually have to supply the images to ChatGPT. But that's actually a good thing because it means that humans are required in the loop, and it also means that your privacy is more greatly protected. So I haven't given it the image yet, but don't worry. If I have photos that I've been given permission to use by any of my clients or a photo of myself because people want to know whom they're inviting into their homes, I can supply it with all of that information. We'll be able to do that in just 1 minute. But first, I want to take a look at the different basic websites that we've built. So this is the one where I did not give it any aesthetic direction, and I simply allowed it to do its own thing, and it did a really nice job. Meanwhile, here I actually did give it aesthetic direction. Remember I said I wanted a watercolor illustration style with lines. So here's the preview of that. And it's going to load in a moment. And as you can see, I really, really love this. Now, there are little areas where I want to make some edits. But overall, I think that this is beautiful. And I'm truly, truly enjoying it. Now, meanwhile, remember in Lovable, it created a website as well. Here, I have a lot of images that are AI generated. They look like photos, and I'm not loving them, but overall it's a nice design as well. So those are my three websites. Next, what I want to do though is make those modifications that will truly make the website something I can be proud of, adding my own images or making little edits here and there. So let's get into that as our next step. So here, I'm very happy with this, but again, I want there to be a headshot for me because, again, you people want to know who they are working with. I can simply go here where it says Edit Website, and here's a plus sign, so I can add any photos or images I want. It has already got a photo of me, so I can just add it from my library, but I can also upload it from my computer. I can go to Google Drive. I could even add something from my Outlook email. I'm just going to go into my library, and I'm going to see if it can't find a photo of me. And here's an old headshot of mine that I've supplied it with, and I'm just going to upload that into the chat. You could have any photo you want. Maybe you're creating a website for your pet's birthday. You could upload that photo there as well. I'm going to simply say, add my headshot to the section I don't just clear clutter. You want to be specific when you give directions to an AI. The more specific you are, the better. In fact, I'm going to go extra paranoid and I'm going to actually say, add my headshot attached to the section I don't clear clutter. You can see by the fact that it's grayed out that it's still uploading, but that's okay. I'm just going to send it. You can see it's thinking now. And it's going to think and it's going to add that. Now here I've got two edits. I do still want to add my headshot, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add from my library, and again, if it's not in your library, you can always upload it. You're going to just tell it to add your headshot. And now I'm going to do something a little bit bold and maybe a little risky. I'm not going to tell it where to add it because I'm curious whether it's going to guess the appropriate place to put it. You can always experiment with AI. I always like to try different prompts and test out how specific I need to be with the current version of my favorite AI tools, because I have found over many years of working with AI, I worked with it even before ChatGPT came out, that it absolutely does change how specific you need to be. So I've got this thinking about adding my headshot. This one is also thinking about adding my headshot. Still not there, but it's working on it. So here, remember, I had other edits I wanted to do also. I don't like this here. I feel like it looks a little sloppy and I want to make some changes. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. Now, if this were live on the web, I would be able to click here, but it's not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this and I'm going to go into the edit mode. So you've got a couple of things you can do here. It's still putting in my headshot, so it can't really do anything else. But I'm going to hover over it, the preview that is, until I see this edit button right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that edit button, and this should open up the ability to actually make edits right there on the screen. I can hover over a part that I don't like, and I can say, I want this right here to be edited. So I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this, and I'm just going to say, move this so that it's I'm going to wonder, like a banner or star or heart shape. And I'm going to add that as well. I'm going to hit enter. Now you notice it's still thinking about adding my headshot, so it's not ready to take this instruction on. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to wait until it is ready to take any more edits, and then I'm going to add that information. But as you can see here, it's still working on the second thing. So I'm just going to paste it into the main chat for now. I'm going to just leave it. Now, if I go back here, let's see. Nope, it's still working on my headshot here too. Again, AI site builders are a little bit slow, but right here I've got my Lovable website. And here our problem is just the overall aesthetic. It's not one little thing I want edited. I don't just want a headshot. I want the whole aesthetic changed. But I also still even want the headshot added as well. So I'm going to give it 2 prompts. And the thing with Lovable is you can add a queue, which is you don't have to finish one prompt for the next one to start working. You can keep adding prompts and it will create a backlog, a line of all of those prompts. It's super handy. So first I'm going to say I would like to replace the photos with illustrations for a more warm and less AI look. And I'm going to add that to the queue. Now I'm also going to add my headshot. Now I don't have it added there, so instead I'm going to click here on the attach button, and once I am able to attach, what I'm going to do is I am going to upload a photo, same as I would, and you can see here, I'm just going to grab and I'm going to upload a photo. And then I'm going to tell it, add my headshot. And I wish I had an action shot of me decluttering. I'll make sure to get one. But in the meantime, I'm just going to add the headshot to the queue. I'm not going to tell it how to do it. I'm going to trust it to do it myself. All right, so now it's still adding my headshot. Here it's asking me for a prompt, and it's going to give me that information soon as it is done with its thinking. And it has not updated it yet, but I'm going to go click anywhere here in the preview of the browser to see whether it has made those edits. If it's not giving me anything, I'm going to hit the refresh button just to make sure I haven't missed anything. You can see here, it doesn't have a record of the image being uploaded at all. That is totally fine. AI sometimes makes little mistakes. You can see here, there's definitely a mistake. And so what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to try uploading the image directly into the chat. That might have been the problem. So I'm going to hit enter. And I'm just going to say, add my headshot. And you know what? It should have my name and my name. Because you can see here, it just said Ed D, which is not exactly what I want. So I'm going to add it again. And again, same thing as if you were working with a human. If it forgets, if it makes a mistake, just gently redirect it. Same here. I'm going to just add this as well. And we're going to see if it can't make these edits. Meanwhile, Lovable is also doing its thing. And as I said before, Lovable is lightning fast. You can see here it has already added watercolor illustrations. And it's created a whole about section. And it's created additional pages. It even created a services page for me. So Lovable, in less time than it took ChatGPT, actually created a 3-page website for me. Now, this is when we take off our AI hat and we put our regular marketing hat on, especially thinking about what makes a successful website. Now, a successful website from a marketing standpoint is one that encourages people to take action. In other words, one that encourages conversions, people becoming a customer or signing up. Now you can see here on the page that shows the services, there are a lot of conversion opportunities that are not working. We don't really have a conversion funnel. Couple of things here. There are no images, so I can't see what's happening here with organizing for a purpose. I can't really visualize what's happening. I like the how it works section, but it's just a bulleted list. And you can see here that the buttons are saying all kinds of different things from describe your project to start the conversation. They are inconsistent calls to action. And a call to action is a really important part of a website. It is really what tells the customer or the prospective customer what action they need to take in order to engage with you on the website. So I'm going to have it change the calls to action to be consistent. That's super important. I'm going to say change all CTA buttons, call to action buttons, that is, to say ask for help. Because I think that is the key when somebody needs decluttering services. You want a call to action button to be specific. You don't want to just say learn more or sign up. You want to say what people need to do. In this case, we want them to know that they can ask for help. So that's the first edit that I'm going to make. Then I'm also going to say make the services page more visual, adding images of before and after, cluttered and decluttered rooms in the same illustration style. And again, this is me with my marketing hat on, thinking to myself, what would make somebody excited about becoming my customer? It wouldn't be fancy images of aspirational homes. It would be showing the before and after that they are experiencing. Here's clutter and here's decluttering. It's going to be something that's going to inspire people to take action. So those are the edits that I'm going to ask for on my Lovable website. And then finally, I don't particularly like this section. It looks a bit dull. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask for an edit. So I'm going to go over, I'm going to highlight this section. You can see here in Lovable, you can actually select sections. So I'm going to select this whole section and I'm going to say, make this a flow chart, keep the CTA button. Boom. That's another thing that I really like about Lovable is it allows you to actually point at sections so easily and make the edits. All right, so now we've learned how to build a website. We've learned how to do it with and without giving creative direction, and then we've learned how to upload files and images and make edits to get the website looking exactly the way we want it. Let's take a look at our Room to Breathe website now, where I asked it to take my edits on board. Now we're going to take a final look at all of our edited websites. We're going to see how AI created the site of our dreams. So you can see here, this is my illustration website. And it did not make the edits I want at all. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board. And again, I'm going to have to tell it, add my headshot. So I'm going to go back in here. And I think this is really important to remember when you work with AI. If you go into it expecting it to be magic, if you go into it expecting that you're not going to have to give feedback or that it's not going to require work from you as a marketer, you're going to be disappointed. I've been in marketing for over 20 years and I've seen all sorts of magical tools come in and people thinking that this means that they're not going to have to do marketing. The reality is that all of these tools allow us to do marketing, but it allows us to do it more efficiently. You're still the marketer, you're still in charge, and you are still going to have to guide and direct the tool. So you can see here, it is doing what I tell it to do, and I have to keep my eyes open, I have to be vigilant, and I have to know what I want from a website, and I especially have to know what makes a website effective. Knowing all of that, it did a great job. It added my headshot, it put in all of the information, I've got everything in here. Perfect. This one is working on it, and here I've got improvements. It took the images before and after and it put them on the bottom, but I kind of like it. I think it looks pretty good. I think that this section here needs to be more visual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, this section here needs to be more visual. I'm going to take my pointer. As you can see, it's hovering around it blue. And I'm going to say, this section here needs to be more visual. I'm not going to tell it in this case what. I'm going to just let it make its own decisions. And we're going to see what happens. Now I've made the final edits here. It has hopefully integrated the photo. And in order to see that, I'm just going to refresh the page. And then I'm going to hit the preview button again. We're going to see what it did. I did make the edits a little more room to live. I'm still not happy with the font and the alignment, but I think it's okay for a start. Here, it still didn't add the headshot. I am super frustrated. Now I'm going to actually say, you still did not add my headshot. I prefer not to yell at my AI, but sometimes when it does not do its job, you actually want to be able to tell it that bluntly. And then it answers me back rather charmingly. It is added in the About section. Live site hasn't finished updating when you checked it, verified it. I'm waiting for the exact version to replace the current live one now, so it told me to be patient. Meanwhile, Lovable, while we were talking, did this whole thing. I love it. But you know what? I think the before and after needs to move to the top. So I'm going to tell it the before and after images should be at the top of the page. Now think about how many weeks of work going back and forth this would be if you were working with a designer. I am a huge believer in designers. I believe that you really should be working with human web designers as much as possible. So what I want you to take away from this is not that you should not be working with human designers, but that as a client, try to think about ways in which you can make the process more efficient. The other thing I'm noticing here is that the before and after pictures are inconsistent. This is not the same room as this. That's a common error that you see with AI. Windows placement is not consistent in the living room photos. Please ensure it's the same room, just decluttered. Same windows. Fireplace. Check all details. This is still faster than building a website by hand. But what it is not is a replacement for human common sense. You've seen this over and over again. So now we have 3 different web pages. One is very simple, clean, easy to navigate. One has 3 entire different pages with lots of interesting design elements, and one of them is somewhere in between. The difference here, this was ChatGPT where I gave it aesthetic direction. This is ChatGPT where I did not give it aesthetic direction. And this uses a tool called Lovable, where it gives itself a lot of aesthetic direction and also creates a multitude of different pages. But again, it is a paid tool. In all 3 cases, we had to make a variety of edits, uploading our own images as well as giving new prompts in order to get the exact website that we wanted. And now the result is 3 beautiful websites that I can use to support my business. Now with Lovable, all you're going to need to do when you are ready to publish your web page is you're going to hit this publish button right here, and it's going to create a web address for you, and you can then add your own web address and then just hit the publish button. With ChatGPT, you're simply going to talk to it about publishing. Again, first thing you're going to do is if you just have a link, it's going to require people to be logged into ChatGPT in order to use the website. So instead, you're going to say, publish the website, please, publicly. And then it's going to make a public version of it, and you'll still have the option as well to add your own web address. And then it will be hosted inside your ChatGPT account. So in less than an hour, we have made not 1, not 2, but 3 different websites using AI. I hope this has allowed you to imagine new possibilities for your own business and helped you to understand the human-in-the-loop process of building websites with AI. This is Professor Christina, signing off.